So clearly, we've got a player and a coach now that have two completely separate belief sets. And look, Stephanie White was angry when she made those comments. So you can bet one thing, I'm going to be watching and paying attention to Sophie Cunningham's minutes. If she all of a sudden has a reduction in minutes playing.
The WNBA is facing a major wave of controversy, and a story involving the Indiana Fever is spreading rapidly online. While some reports and social media discussions suggest everything inside the organization is under control, rumors of tension behind the scenes have created major questions among fans. The situation reportedly centers around Sophie Cunningham, coach Stephanie White, and Caitlin Clark. Online discussions have painted a picture of growing tension, disagreement, and frustration within the team. According to the story circulating online, Caitlin Clark eventually became frustrated with how the situation involving Cunningham was being handled. A dramatic claim suggested that Clark confronted the situation after feeling that both she and Cunningham were being treated unfairly. To understand why this story has created so much attention, we need to look at the events that allegedly started the controversy. Sophie Cunningham has built a reputation for being fearless and outspoken. She is known for playing with confidence and not backing down easily on the court. Recently, her comments on an important issue involving women's sports sparked a huge reaction online. Cunningham openly shared her opinion and stood firmly behind what she believed. Her comments quickly went viral, with many fans supporting her willingness to speak honestly.
Sophie Cunningham says, the article says, you say she's a MAGA Barbie. As some corners of the internet have taken to calling her, projection, she says, because of what she looks like and where she's from. She'll weigh in on how to, quote, protect women's sports, she says, because she's in that world and feels qualified to speak to that world. Quote, I got a lot of negative feedback about me hating trans, and I'm like, I never once said that, she says. I think that I'm here to extend love, but I also think with that love is truth, and being honest. And I want to protect young girls in the locker room or young girls in sport who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Now, prior to yesterday's game, the Indiana Fever media, they flooded Sophie Cunningham. Apologize, Sophie, apologize! How dare you! And then Sophie Cunningham says,
in that story with ESPN, you talked about wanting to protect young girls who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Just can you expand your viewpoint on that?
I mean, I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's...
The reaction on social media was immediate. Thousands of fans praised Cunningham, while others strongly disagreed with her comments. As the debate grew, the story reportedly created additional pressure around the Indiana Fever organization. Some online reports claimed that the team's leadership was unhappy with the attention surrounding Cunningham's comments. These claims suggested that coach Stephanie White and the organization faced a difficult situation regarding how to respond. Instead of the team appearing completely united, rumors began spreading that Cunningham could face consequences for speaking publicly about the issue. The reports created even more controversy because many fans believed a player should be allowed to express her opinion without fear of being punished.
So, I stand on what I said, and I always believe that.
Yeah, do you see your advocacy on that, like, taking any form going forward?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a very political person, but I do have beliefs, I have morals, and I'll always stand on those and be true to who I am. And I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so when it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports weren't protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future it's just really important to protect.
Do you think, I guess along the line like that, it goes against perhaps, some people might say, hey, for the trans community, this could be something that could come back on us or be targeted against us. Like, how do you, I guess, view that sort of critique?
You know, like I said, I extend love, and I don't dislike anyone.
As the rumors continued to spread, more dramatic claims appeared online. Some reports suggested that Cunningham could potentially lose playing time or face disciplinary action. However, these claims fueled major debate among fans about whether the situation was actually being handled fairly. The possibility of Cunningham being punished created concern throughout the basketball community. Supporters argued that players should not be silenced simply because their opinions create controversy. The situation reportedly became a major test for the Indiana Fever's leadership. Many fans began asking an important question: would the organization support its players, or would the controversy create even more division inside the team? But one person was reportedly unwilling to remain silent: Caitlin Clark.
When it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports were protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so,
Damn. Sophie, I said what I said. Whoa. you know they were hoping that Sophie Cunningham would apologize, would walk back all of her words that came out in that article. You were hoping. Sophie Cunningham played 7 minutes in the first half after doubling down on what she said. Folks, I don't remember Sophie Cunningham playing 7 minutes in the first half all season long in the game that she's played in. But then after that, you have the Indiana Fever putting out a statement. Our players are thoughtful adults with their own perspectives and voices, and those views are their own. We are committed to welcoming fans from every background and treating everyone with respect. And that.
As the controversy grew larger, the conversation moved beyond basketball. Political figures and national discussions surrounding women's sports added even more attention to the situation. Support for Cunningham's position continued to spread online, creating pressure on the Indiana Fever and the WNBA. The situation became much bigger than a simple disagreement between a player and her coach. With more people discussing the controversy, the Indiana Fever found itself at the center of a major national conversation. The growing attention made it increasingly difficult for the organization to control the narrative. Fans were closely watching every development, waiting to see whether Cunningham would face consequences and whether her teammates would publicly support her.
I said what I said, Cunningham told reporters. Well, rather than me just saying that, let's hear from Sophie Cunningham herself. Listen to what she had to say.
Talked about wanting to protect young girls who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Just can you expand your viewpoint on that?
I mean, I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children, and that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what I said, and I always believe that.
I stand with Sophie Cunningham. I stand with Riley Gaines. I stand with them both. I have 2 daughters. They don't participate in sports, but if they did, that would be my position. And I think it's important to emphasize what Sophie Cunningham said a bit further. She said, I think I'll always believe that. I think it's really important to protect children and that little girls who are also involved in that category. So I stand on what I said, and I will always believe that. She claims she's not a political person, but she does have morals and beliefs, and she will always stay true to them. When asked if her stance could negatively impact the trans community, Cunningham said she's not speaking out of hate. She doesn't dislike anyone. She says, quote, I think there is room for absolutely everyone here, and I think there's room to love everyone. I truly think when you get people in the same room and you have conversations, you actually have a lot in common with a lot of people. I'm there to love, but I'm also there to love biological women, and I think that there are rights that need to be protected. And like I said, I'm going to stand true to that. I'll never falter in my beliefs in that, but I have never once said I hated the trans community. Like I said, I think there's space for everyone. I can't
The pressure reportedly continued to grow, and the Indiana Fever faced increasing scrutiny from fans and the media. At the same time, Caitlin Clark's role in the story became a major topic of discussion. Clark had already faced intense attention throughout her career. From physical play on the court to constant media debates, every move she made had been heavily analyzed, but according to the dramatic story circulating online, the situation involving Sophie Cunningham pushed Clark to her limit. The claim suggested that Clark was frustrated by what she believed was an unfair situation and was no longer willing to remain quiet.
Sneakers on today. Before we start with questions, I just want to address, what's going on with AT. I think first and foremost, It's to protect our players. We've got to continue to support our players in our league. We get to play a basketball game. And AT was exactly right. Like, we get to play a basketball game. And yes, that's going to come with criticism. Yes, that's going to come with fans and the love-hate relationship that they have with players and teams. That is going to come. But it's not hard to not be a jerk. And if you are one of these people that are online doing this, do not call yourself a WNBA fan. Our league is about inclusiveness. Our league
is about inclusiveness.
Do not call yourself a WNBA fan. Our league is about inclusiveness. Our league is about competition.
Our league is about competition.
Our league is about elevating.
Our league is about elevating.
Elevating women.
Elevating women.
Elevating marginalized communities.
Elevating marginalized communities.
Including and being inclusive of all different walks of life.
Being inclusive of all different walks of life.
That is what our league has always been about from day one. That is what our league will continue to be about. And we will continue to compete at a high level, hold ourselves to a higher standard, continue to be on the forefront of social norms, and we will continue to support one another collectively as a league. Players, coaches, staff, support staff, everyone. We're about elevating. We are not about demeaning, demanding. We are not about continuing this narrative.
Reports and online discussions then described an alleged confrontation behind the scenes. According to the viral story, Clark reportedly expressed her frustration and questioned why she and Cunningham were facing so much criticism. The claims described a tense moment involving Clark and coach Stephanie White, although the exact details remain part of the larger online controversy. Supporters viewed Clark's reported reaction as an example of loyalty toward her teammate. The story suggested that Clark made it clear that if Cunningham was treated unfairly, she would not simply stand by and watch. This created the image of a powerful alliance between Clark and Cunningham and raised even more questions about the relationship between the players, the coaching staff, and the Indiana Fever organization.
For sexual harassment, Brianna Turner made us all aware of that earlier this morning, late last night. Indiana Fever put out a statement about that. Quote, protecting our players and employees and maintaining a respectful, professional workplace is our top priority. Our policy is to take concerns seriously, investigate thoroughly, and act promptly when appropriate to protect the people in our organization and ensure everyone is treated with professionalism and respect. Fostering trust and safety in that process means we do not comment on personnel matters involving former employees. Now, I'm not sure what people were expecting the Indiana Fever to say. I guess they wanted names. They wanted allegations. Now, this is the thing. If we get a name on who allegedly was getting harassed, well, then the person who was doing the harassing now will feel inclined to speak up and give their side of the story. And the truth lies somewhere in the middle. There's one side, there's another side, and then there's the truth. So what Brianna Turner has done, she's opened up a whole can of worms. Because I'm seeing people speculate, oh, it was this person, oh, it was that person. Well, this person or that person comes forward and says, I was the one that got da-da-da-da-da, and these were and this is what happened to me, and da-da-da-da-da. Well, that person that did it will probably have to feel emboldened to protect their name. Interesting. The Indiana Fever responded quite quickly to the Sophie Cunningham. They responded within 24 hours to the Sophie Cunningham statement, and they responded within 12 hours to the Brianna Turner statement.
The Indiana Fever now finds itself at the center of a major controversy, with fans closely watching to see what happens next. Sophie Cunningham continues to receive support from many people online, while Caitlin Clark's alleged reaction has added even more drama to the situation. The biggest question is whether these reports represent a serious internal problem or whether the online story has exaggerated the situation. Will the Indiana Fever address the controversy directly? Will Coach Stephanie White and the players move forward together? Or could the growing tension create even bigger problems for the team? One thing is clear, fans are paying close attention. What do you think about this situation? Do you support Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark, or do you believe the story has been blown out of proportion? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more WNBA news, updates, and discussions.